Right then, Ugarte seems like he is going to be the main midfield signing for United this summer, and he is a well-established player with excellent work as a defensive midfielder for both Sporting and more recently at PSG. Now, it hasn't quite worked out how everyone probably would have wanted it to do at PSG, but that falls right into our hands. PSG is the sort of club where you can get a signing out of because they just have that need to just constantly bring in players, which means good players do fall through the cracks at times, and I think Ugarte is going to be one of those. Now, what does that mean for United? Well, we're going to have a look at how he fits in and what he's all about. Now, first and foremost, he is not a Busquets, he is not a Rodri sort of defensive midfielder. He is a different type altogether. He's more of your Kante, he's more of the anchor, he's more of a destroyer. His traits are ball winning and covering grass, and you know exactly what you're going to get from him. When Luis Enrique joined PSG, Ugarte fell down the pecking order because Enrique prefers that Busquets archetype, and you can see that in all the midfield selections that he's given throughout the years. And Ugarte is a player that thrives with more creative players in front of him. He wants to just do the very simple, dirty work, pass it off, and then sit there waiting for the next transition to come his way so he can sweep it up. He is aggressive, he is tenacious, and he's the sort of player that's going to give everything for the badge and probably become a cult hero in doing it, because that sort of midfielder always gets a lot of love with the fans. There's a lot to like about him as well. Now, sometimes you need a bit of a fresh start to make things happen. I think that's the case for him at the moment. United and PSG's way of playing is very different, and that's why I think Ugarte would do very, very well for United. And as I said before, he thrives with creative players in front of him. So you know that whether it's Bruno and Manu, which is probably the first choice, or whether it's Mount and Eriksen, you've got creative players in front of him. You need someone to do like a very narrow set of skills or set of responsibilities. And that's what Ugarte brings. All you're going to be asking of him to do is win the ball and keep it simple. And even though that's easier said than done, he's got it in his locker to do that. We crave a player that has got the talent of Ugarte, and he could be a real good replacement for Casemiro, whether he stays or goes this summer, which is what we actually identified about 12 months ago when we did a scout report on him. On the ball, he actually can play the flashy passes. He can make things tick, which is why he would be a formidable anchor and the right kind of player, because you can play into him as you're playing out. He's not going to lose it. This isn't just someone that's got no technical ability whatsoever and runs about the place like a 2024 version of Vinnie Jones. He can still play. His better attributes are off the ball, recovering possession. Now, if we did line up with a midfield that was Ugarte, Manu and Bruno, that midfield combines a bit of grit, a bit of creativity and a bit of control in a way that we haven't really had. We saw glimpses of a little bit with both Eriksen and Casemiro, but both of those on the downside of their career, it was never going to build into something. And with Ugarte, you'd start to see Manu be able to step up higher and operate as an 8 and start being able to create chances for us. And I think you get an even better level out of Manu when you do that. I think he gets more goals, I think he gets more assists, and I think he creates more chances. And it's the same with Bruno. The level that we got out of him while Casemiro was playing his best football, you could see just how good he was. And I think having someone that's going to be that solid sort of dependable anchor in behind makes sense. In terms of how much he's going to cost, it seems like they're going to let him go for a reasonable fee, or it could be some sort of a loan with obligation thing, but kicking the fee down the road a little bit. And I don't really want to delve into the FFP and the PSR stuff, because it's not interesting to me. What's interesting to me is football and tactics and how players blend together and what United are going to do when we get on the pitch, and that's the sort of stuff that really gets me going. And when I see Ugarte, as I saw 12 months ago, hasn't been diminished by the fact that PSG wanted to go in a different kind of style than the player that they had in Ugarte. I like him, and I think he suits what Manchester United are trying to be about, what we want to be about, and I think he'd be a real good player for us. So let's hope we can get this one done, because I could see it being very, very beneficial to us. And if we do get him done, what next? Delete.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.